Hi, I'm Caitlin, and this is Book Chat. Welcome to The Good Place book tag. This is a tag that I developed as an original tag with Laura from Bookies and Cookies. We are both huge fans of The Good Place, and our excitement for the third season starting up kind of led to us creating this tag. I want to say right away up front that if you haven't watched The Good Place, stop watching this video, go watch The Good Place. The first 2 seasons are on Netflix. They might be available at your local library. I'm not sure. They might still be available on NBC.com. Not sure about that either. But either way, you should not watch this tag if you have not watched The Good Place. The first 5 questions have kind of mild spoilers for the first half of the season, and then the last 3 questions have major spoilers. Now, for all of my Good Place fans, welcome. Are you excited about the 3rd season? I'm excited about the 3rd season. I am going to start this tag in the obvious place, which is with Eleanor. Eleanor, our favorite dirtbag. For this question, what I want you to do is to choose a problematic favorite, because Eleanor is my problematic favorite. There are several books that I love that are also really problematic, but I decided to choose The Blue Sword by Robin McKinley. This is a book about a girl who is the niece of the governor of this new colony in this area. He's a colonizer, she's a colonizer. She is not like other girls and doesn't really care about deportment, but she's great at riding horses. And then one day she gets kidnapped. One night, actually, she gets kidnapped by this local sort of tribe of peoples who are indigenous to the area that is now taken over by this new colony. Yep, so she gets kidnapped, and she finds out that she was kidnapped because there's this prophecy and they think she might be the prophesized savior of them all. Spoiler, she is. Spoiler, that's super problematic. Yeah, so all of that happens, and then at the end, after she's like done her heroics and saved everyone on horseback with her sword, she decides to retire from adventuring and become a wife and a mother. And there's nothing wrong with being a wife and a mother. What is wrong with it is it's like a false dichotomy to say you could be this or this. This book is problematic on multiple levels. Question number 2 is for Chidi, everybody's favorite moral philosophy professor. It seemed reasonable to ask you all to choose a book that challenged you to think about morality. The book I chose here is The Road to Jonestown, Jim Jones and the People's Temple by Jeff Gwynne. This is a nonfiction book about a cult and ended in a mass murder suicide event. It is really chilling. Going into this book, all I knew really about Jonestown was what I had read on Wikipedia. This book completely changed the way I think about the event and the way I think about cults and how cults act on people's minds, and specifically the way I think about Jim Jones and the People's Temple. Don't get me wrong, Jim Jones is a terrible person. He did terrible things and he had no morals to speak of. But the People's Temple did do some things that were good. Jim Jones, some of the things he preached were not bad things. Some of the things he preached are things that I would have found myself nodding along to. So listening to this book and hearing that challenged how I think of myself, how I think about kind of morality and how we practice it publicly, and it made me think a lot about this situation and how it all played out. Question number 3 is for the wonderful Tahani. Tahani. If there's one thing that is very clear about Tahani, it is that she will take any opportunity she can to name drop. For this question, we would like you all to choose a book that after you finish, you find yourself frequently name-dropping or bragging about having read it. This was by far the easiest question on this list for me to answer, because there is a clear standout book that once I finished it, I will forever and ever brag about having finished it. And that is the time I read the entire Bible in a year by reading the Daily Bible in chronological order. Did I fail multiple times before I succeeded in reading this book? Yes. Have I failed multiple times after having succeeded in reading this book? Yes. But one time, one year, I read the Daily Bible in chronological order by reading one entry every day. I technically finished the last entry on January 1st of the next year, but whatever, it still counts, and I will never shut up, ever, about having finished this book. Question number 4 is for Jason, and it is a book that you love because it has no pretension at all. It doesn't try to be something it isn't. It doesn't try to be fancy. It just is what it is, and you love it for it. I chose Everyone Poops, which is a children's picture book from Japan that was translated to English and that I read in preschool, and all of my siblings also read in preschool, and it's a super simple book. There's no pretension to it all. It's just about how humans poop and elephants poop and hippos poop and giraffes poop and dogs poop and cats poop and everyone poops. And it is just a delight of a book, if that can be said about this, but also just the way that my family talks about it and the way that it's kind of was just this like part of our childhood. I really love, and I think I'll always have fond memories of this book, even if it is not in any way a work of great literature. The fifth question is for Janet, everyone's favorite not robot, and that is to choose a book that is a good reference or that has it's very informative, it has a lot of information. So I chose a book that I have read and that I really need to read more often, and that is The Hoarder in You. This is a book that is a combination of practical advice about how to declutter, how to decide what is not worth keeping anymore, how to get rid of things, and also kind of a psychological look at the reasons that you might keep things and why you shouldn't keep things for those reasons. I am a really cluttered person. I really fight against my clutter a lot, and reading this book every few years is a way that I kind of fight against the clutter. That is my Janet book, my useful, informative book. You don't have to choose a nonfiction book. I simply did because it made more sense for me. If you have not finished season 1 of The Good Place and started season 2 of The Good Place, do not watch the end of this tag. Instead, get yourself over to Netflix or the library or NBC.com and watch season 1 of The Good Place and the first 3 or 4 episodes of season 2. Just watch all of season 2 while you're at it. Don't bother to come back here till you've finished. Go watch. Go watch. I do not want you to spoil yourself on this show. I would much rather you stop watching this video or not watch it at all than spoil yourself on this show. So go watch. Hello, friends who have finished season 1 and season 2 of The Good Place. The next couple questions are a little bit spoilery, and that is why I chased everyone else away. But you guys are with me. So the first of our extremely spoilery questions is Michael. And for Michael, I'd like you to choose a book that is struggling to know what it is. For this, I'm actually going to refer you guys to my entire video about the book Red Queen, because Red Queen does not know what it is, and it made it a really frustrating read. I did an entire video where I was like, Red Queen. I'm going to refer you to that video, and I'm going to choose Red Queen for this question because it is not a book that knows what it is doing or what it is. For question number 7, we're going to talk about frozen yogurt. You guys know frozen yogurt if you've watched this show at all. And you know that it is a thing that seems like it's going to be good. You think it's going to be great. And then ultimately you're disappointed in it because it's only kind of okay. And I'm choosing a book actually that wasn't even just okay. It just made me so upset because it did not meet my expectations. And that is Unmade by Sarah Rees Brennan, which is the third and final book in the Lindburn Legacies trilogy. I loved the first book in this trilogy, and I really enjoyed the second book in the trilogy. And then the third book is just like trash. I mean, it's competently written, but everything I liked about the first 2 books is gone. Everything I didn't like is there in spades. It's a complete mess. I anticipated it so highly. I so expected it to be good. And then it just wasn't. It was so disappointing. It was so disappointing that I disliked it even more. The 8th and final question, of course, we couldn't leave out Sean. Sean of the Butthole Spiders. For Sean, we would like you to choose a book that you would assign as torture, because you know that Sean would assign books as torture. I had several books I could choose from that were of very questionable literary merit for this one, and I ended up choosing one that has gotten some praise and possibly an award of some kind. I honestly have no idea why, because it was an awful read, and that is Lord of Light by Roger Zelazny. I think it was like in the middle of like a larger cycle or series of some kind. You were plopped into it. It had this weird philosophy and religion kind of attached that didn't make any sense. It was like super hard to understand. I couldn't follow anything. It just was genuinely terrible. I didn't enjoy any minute of reading it. It was not a pleasant read at all for any reason, and I would absolutely assign it for torture. Thank you so much for watching this tag. It's an original tag. Laura and I made it. So first, I would like to tag anyone who has watched The Good Place and wants to participate in this tag. Please do it. I would love to see your answers, but I also want to tag some specific people. I'd like to tag Alexandra from A Lovely Jaunt. I don't know if you actually do tags on your channel, but I would highly look forward to seeing your all classics rendition of this tag. I think it would be great, and I would really enjoy that, so please. I would also like to tag Rebecca from Why Mermaids. I would love to see your takes on this tag and your thoughts on what books should go in the categories. I would really enjoy anyone doing this tag at all. Please do the tag. Please do the tag and then tag me and tell me that you did the tag. I will be so happy. And then I will also bother you about The Good Place because I have so many feelings about it and not enough people to talk about it with. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Bye!